What is up, guys, and welcome back to another F1 2018 video. We are back with the preview career mode in the Renault. If you haven't seen the first episode already, I recommend you go check it out. The Australian Grand Prix, it goes through the introduction of career mode, and we have a pretty good race finding our way through the field. Today we're at the Bahrain Grand Prix, but wow, what was that pronunciation? Before we get into things, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys who showed the support on the previous video. We managed to smash over 5,000 likes, so as promised, I'll be doing a giveaway of F1 2018 on the platform of your choice. So what you have to do is go down in the description, click on my Twitter profile, follow me on there, retweet the tweet that is linked in the description, and that's it. You will go in the draw to win F1 2018 the game, and I'll reach out to you in the next few days if you have won. So you have to be following me so that I can follow you back and DM you and get all your details and all that so you can get the game. So with all that said, let's get into the video. We're doing a 2,000 resource point spending spree in the career mode. So we're doing just some basic upgrades. The first ones that you get to do at the start of your tree. We're doing one for, I think, every department. All the initial upgrades are 500 resource points. So we did one for the aerodynamics, we did one for the engine power, we did one for like the chassis, weight reduction, and we're also going to do one for the durability side of things as well. So 2,000 resource points, it sounds like a lot, but when you don't have any upgrade efficiency upgrades applied or budget upgrades applied, it means that you pay so much even for basic minor upgrades. So that's just 4 upgrades, and that's 2,000 resource points down the drain. So as you can imagine, it's going to take an awfully long time to get up those resource points, get the car developing, and get the cogs turning, and overtake some cars in the development race. But there we go. Those should be on the car all in time for Azerbaijan. The only exception was the durability upgrade, which will go on the car for the next race. So, with that done, let's go to quali.
The cars are ready, the drivers are ready. We hope you're ready as qualifying is about to begin here in Bahrain.
Thanks, Crofty. Let's get stuck in. Hopefully we have a better outing of things than what we did in the previous race in the Australian Grand Prix. I believe in this one we didn't actually do any practice at all. Like I said, very, very limited on time. I was very, very time pressed to get all this recording done for you guys, so I think we just jumped straight into qualifying using the Australia setup and doing the one-shot qualifying to see where we can get on the grid. So turn 1, and I'm starting to notice this now that I've edited it and watching it over. It's not driving very well, and I guess I shouldn't have high expectations of myself given that it is the start of a new game. You shouldn't be expecting yourself to be, you know, bang on the pace right away, but in saying that, I do drive much, much better, much more fluently on the beta, which is on my normal platform, which is Xbox. And I wasn't struggling there, but that's out of the question. Anyway, going through the middle sector, 2.6 seconds down on Sebastian Vettel. So you can see versus us, the ghost that was pulling away of Sebastian Vettel, we were just losing so much time, even out of the first 2 or 3 corners there. It was insane how fast that Ferrari was. But like I said, when we get to the actual career mode, I will be much more naturally up to speed. Across the line, Lewis Hamilton manages to steal it at the death, but again, it's last.
It's a bit disappointing, but we just need to push hard in the race and we can still come away with something.
And I think as well, the whole one-shot qualifying format does not really suit my style. But you can see a benchmark as where the Renault naturally sits in the order, 1.4 seconds away. It was Nico Hülkenberg from the lead, so if you're in Renault, expect to be, I don't know, within striking distance of Red Bull. If you're good enough and you string together a really good lap, you could really mix it with those top 3 teams if you try. But, yeah, we're going to be starting from last place. We're losing the rivalry. We still get resource points even though we qualify quite badly. But overall, maybe on the verge of getting fired.
Tough luck there. It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Scuderia circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36. So before the off, let's remind ourselves of
Yeah, Crofty, we get it. We, I think the introductions of the menus haven't really changed all too much before you go to the grid. But otherwise, we're ready for this race now. We're going to up the front downforce just a little bit for some reason. I think at the time I might have felt like I was understeering. But yeah, we'll see how we go. We always do better in the race than what we do in qualifying so far in these videos. So we should be able to move forward quite nicely. 5 red lights, and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. The reason why I said I have input lag is I noticed that my starts were really bad, but just reaction time just wasn't quite there with the AI, which is weird. But heading into turn 1, lunging a lot of cars up the inside of 3, 4, maybe even 5 cars as we cycle through turns 2 and 3, and that is us up in a P15, dispatching of Charles Leclerc. My pronunciations today, my goodness. Turn 4, putting pressure on Pierre Gasly. Hopefully we can catch up to the back of him. Thank you, Jeffrey. Always supportive as always. As these guys are all bunched up in a queue, this should be pretty easy for us to make our way through the field up the inside. I think making contact there with Ocon and Gasly simultaneously there. So quite lucky in the end there to get away without any front wing damage. We're now going to have a little look at Esteban Ocon into the triple left-hander. It's a really late little sneaky move up the inside, and that is us up in a P13 and in the middle of a Force India sandwich. Tastes quite nice, if I do say so myself. Next up is Sergio Perez. You can see he's very close to the back of Stoffel Van Dorn. He's probably next under threat to get overtaken in this race. Van Dorn probably lacking a little bit of pace in a straight line in that Renault, which we are also powered by. And you can see Ocon just flying right past. Even though we're in rich and hot lap mode as well, I think he's got DRS. No, actually he doesn't have DRS. So the Mercedes power versus fully maxed out, fully batteried out Renault is not enough, which is outstanding, considering we're running with slightly lower downforce as well. So from these videos you can see that it's quite easy for the AI to overtake you, but maybe not so much for us to overtake them. Now this could be power unit dependent, and I'm almost certain it is. So I don't know, I'll have to wait until the full game comes out before I make my judgment on that. But at least in this build of the game, in this car, overtaking and just maintaining track position is so difficult. And I probably don't help myself as well. The fact that I'm not driving well, I'm getting as good at exit as what I could and that I should. But I find myself under a lot of pressure, and I have to use up a lot of the battery to maintain the track position, or at least keep up a decent running pace. Because without that, I fall backwards. But you can see now we're fast forwarding the footage. Just watch the battery just kind of go up and down like a yo-yo. But you'll see that the main trend is that the battery was actually going down for that first lap. You can see it's going down a lot right there. And then around like lap 4, lap 5, that's when I started to actually recover a bit more of my battery. So this just gives you a good insight into how I was managing the car, managing the tyres, but especially just managing that ERS deployment in my battery. Yeah, I think it's like a 2-lap cycle. Essentially, you can save up all of your battery from empty in 2 laps, but at the same time, if you go in full deployment mode, you can pretty much burn it all up in about 2 laps. So it's a very temporary mode to manage over the course of the race, whereas you look at your fuel, that's like a long-term thing to manage. And you both got to treat them equally, I would say. And like I said in some of my preview videos, very, very crucial to your race pace. Now you can see we're getting some pit stops now in this Grand Prix. My teammate, Nico Hulkenberg, is in. He is fitting on these soft compound tyres, and he's going to run those to the end of the race. So Renault giving him the undercut. We're going to come in on the next lap and respond. But yeah, looking like it's going to be quite a difficult one to get in the points. We are really struggling with that battery deployment, like battery management and just straight line speed a little bit. And that's down to my lack of pace as well, and I haven't just compensating with using the battery up quite a lot. But at this point, the tyres are going off quite a bit now. We're still under pressure from Esteban Ocon. I've done my best to try and gap him, but that thing is just way too slippery in a straight line, and yeah, he's just always keeping me honest. But we're about to come into the pits now for our one and only stop. We're going to go onto the soft compound tyres. Ocon decides to do the overcut, which is an interesting tactic from him there. Hamilton is into the pits as well. Crunch time in the race. Have a listen to the pit stops as well. They sound really good this year. I noted that they sounded like really good in 2017, but I think they've just developed the audio even further when it comes to that standing of things. But rejoining on the circuit, we've got a Williams putting us under pressure, and I think we rejoin in about P13, P14. Or it might be once all the pit stops shake out. But you can see this is even Lance Stroll in the Williams overtaking us. Such is our misfortune in this Grand Prix, shall we say. I decided to change things up a little bit for the second half of the race. I thought I'd try the automatic ERS mode, a way in which the game will take care of the deployment and saving of my battery for me. I thought I'd see if it was faster or slower and just see what the game would do for me, and whether it was more efficient maybe. But you can see initially we somehow had a lot of battery saved up, so the game was putting it in hot lap mode and just deploying all of the battery everywhere. But even still, with rich revs and full deployment, we were getting put under supreme pressure by Lance Stroll there. We see a lot of people coming out of the pits on that lap now. So now we've got a bit of a target to chase down Charles Leclerc, I think one of the Toro Rossos, Esteban Ocon as well. So we'll see if we can get the job done on those guys. But yeah, I was just constantly monitoring the battery situation. It's now getting quite low. And then at this point here, I think the game switches it down to the medium deployment. So it was quite interesting to just watch how that was unfolding. But for the most part, I noticed that it wasn't as efficient as when I was using it. For example, when I use the battery, I use very high deployment on the straight. And when I get to a braking zone or a technical part or a twisty part of the circuit, I'll then put the battery deployment down to a low setting so I can save a lot. Whereas on the automatic setting, I felt like the game was just leaving it in one setting for a very long time and not really changing it. So I feel like over the course of a race, it's going to be faster for you if you just manage that yourself. So you can get the most of it down the straights and then save a lot in the corners, if that makes sense. So just one thing worth noting. So yeah, if you want to improve your pace, that's probably one thing to potentially look at once you get the basics of this game down. But we're coming to the closing stages of this Grand Prix now. You can see we're catching up to quite a big battle pack. These guys all started squabbling quite a lot, and it's allowing us to make advantage, shall we say. Next up is Charles Leclerc. We'll see if we can get past him. Van Dorn, I believe, is the head of this queue, holding them all up. Maybe he's got some front wing damage. I'm not entirely sure. We did start to catch these guys rapidly out of nowhere. And at the same time, my lap times at the end here weren't really fantastic, but we dive up the inside of Charles Leclerc there. That's us up in a P14. Next up is Pierre Gasly, checking the tyre wear, and also didn't have any front wing damage. That's all clear. Cutting on to the last corner of the penultimate lap, you can see Magnussen and then Gasly getting very racy on this last lap here. And now Magnussen has been the one who's lost out. Because of that, we've got a retirement behind us. That's actually Charles Leclerc retiring out of this Grand Prix. We got the inside of Magnussen, and that promotes us up in a P13. So I think that might be potentially all the racing done for this race now. Only half a lap to go, and the gap to Gasly is quite large. We got the inside of Magnussen there. Pretty big dive bomb, but we got the job done nonetheless. You can see on the onboard of Stroll that, yeah, Leclerc was just pulling off to the side. Kimi Raikkonen wins the Bahrain Grand Prix, and in usual Kimi fashion, he has absolutely no reaction. He does not care. He just wants to get out of the car, go sip some vodka and have an ice cream. That's all he wants to do. He doesn't care. But anyway, for us, it's going to be P13, no points on the board. In the end there, the tyre wear wasn't really a factor, which was quite interesting.
Okay, we're all a bit gutted with that result, but let's work hard and we'll get it together for the next race.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
So there we have it, guys. Ferrari coming out on top at Bahrain. Somewhat of a power track, and you can see that it might be reflected upon the performance of the Ferrari. They do well at a circuit like this, so quite realistic in the end, I would say. But yeah, for us, it was a pretty disappointing Grand Prix. Like I said, this won't be a case in the full game, but a good illustration of things to come, maybe.
Bad luck out there today. What do you think went wrong? You seem to have issues with fuel efficiency. Does your team need to invest in that area?
No, not really. I think we did quite well for fuel in the end there. It was more the battery.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Cool. Thank you very much. And that is the end of the second episode of this preview career mode for F1 2018. And sadly, that is also the last one I was able to record as well. So you guys have got a brief inkling into what the career mode is like. Just take these two videos with a pinch of salt as well. The difficulty of the AI and just the whole racing nature might be made to look a little bit harder than what it actually is in the full game, so just be aware of that. And this build is also 2 months old, so I'd imagine it is going to be quite a bit easier when it comes to actually driving the game than what you're seeing at the moment. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed these 2 episodes nonetheless. I potentially have a couple more videos coming out from this capture session, so keep an eye out for those. Only maybe 2 weeks or less than that now until the actual career mode will be coming out, so I'm really excited to get that started with Alfa Romeo Sauber. Going to be a Road to Glory style career mode, bringing them up from the back of the field all the way to potentially winning a championship, and I can't wait. So make sure you subscribe to that. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed as well, and check out the giveaway on my Twitter, link in the description. Good luck, and hopefully you guys win. Until the next video, I'll see you next time.
So the team are happy that you hit your last goal. That's going to help out with car development, and it'll weigh in your favour the next time we have a contract review.